Welcome PSY 309 students. This is my week 12 commentary in our 2018 spring semester together. I believe that spring has finally arrived, although I hear rumor that there's still snow on the ground in most of Maine. Here in Libretz, snow is pretty much gone now and the buds are well on their way. So this week, first of all, let me note that it's a 2-chapter reading week, and it's also the week leading up to the week 13 oral presentations. So the 2 chapters have to do with long-term care and then the dying process and death itself, and with that, bereavement. Speaking first to the issue of long-term care. You'll note earlier in the semester I raised the question that the existential and phenomenological experience of aging was perhaps not well represented in our course textbook, even though the overview of the field of gerontology was certainly well laid out. I feel particularly strongly about that this week, insofar as a really odd omission in the first of these 2 chapters on long-term care is the apparent oversight in looking at family caregiving. Instead, the chapter is focused on institutional caregiving, and it's understandable, but at the same time it seems to me a large omission that we will address in two weeks' time as we look at caregiving at the level of aging in place and families and friends. The second chapter is a very good one on the death, dying, and bereavement processes, and I hope you'll take a good look at it. Issues of preparation for death, as well as some of the caregiver experiences in the death and dying process for the individual, him or herself, are knowledgeably laid out. So I think taken together, these 2 chapters are a bit challenging, with the emphasis on for the lack of a better word, let me say, the business of long-term care and certainly the social policy issues. But it's very useful information, and I think if we don't worry about memorizing everything this time, but look at it as a reference source as well, we'll be well served. With respect to your grades in the course, of course, if you simply look at the prep notes for the final test, you'll see that there's not a lot of representation of these 2 chapters, although there's some in the final required online test. And again, a reminder, there's an optional test for those of you who wish to replace a low test grade with a better one. That optional test will appear in the assignments area next week at the latest, and from next week on, all of the tests will be open until the end of the semester. Finally, a word about the upcoming oral presentation. Again, I appreciate the efforts that have been made to organize the peer groups. I see one that's firmly established now, but there are 17 students in the class, and so I'm anxious that all 17 of you have the opportunity to complete that assignment. So please do your part and be actively involved in organizing your peer group, either in an online video conference, a phone bridge, or in a face-to-face event. A summary of those are found in Dr. K's office, as well as the discussions between students as to which group will work best and when. So when in doubt, again, contact me and we'll problem solve with respect to your needs to be in a peer group. Okay, it's about 5 minutes now in this commentary, So I won't go into the nitty-gritty of institutional long-term care and the long-term care industry, nor in the nitty-gritty of the dying processes and bereavement. More can be said on that if you're interested, but I'll leave that to your study at this point in time. So have a good week. Enjoy the spring a bit. And just one more word about next week's content. After this week, we'll be essentially done reading the textbook. And so next week, we'll be looking at the sociology of aging and aging in the context of social problems and conflicts associated with it. Then in the week that follows that, we'll devote it to what's not in this week's reading, which are supplementary readings on family caregiving and aging in place. And then finally, at the end of this semester, I do want us to make sure that we have a balanced perspective on aging in adulthood, and that we look at the pleasures of aging and celebrate exemplary aging as we finish out our study of this amazing field. So that's just a final note on what you can expect on the road ahead. And again, I look forward to problem solving with any of you whose success in the course is in doubt, or you just want early feedback on your papers or whatever. So have a good week.